Stop that. Can't have music playing. Someone will yell at me. Right, sorry, I can't have the music play. I do that and someone's going to be mad. I'll be infringing on someone's copyrights. We had an interesting discussion today about AI and copyrights. I guess last night, talking with a tech guy from Silicon Valley. And we basically were talking about how they're starting to realize, like, hey, AI stole everything. Where do you think they get all information from? And all the things like they say, oh, no, we're not taking your information. They're totally taking your information. Oh, no, we're not using it for AI. They're totally using it for AI. Oh, no, we're not going to take it. They're totally doing it. Anything they're telling you they're not doing, they're absolutely doing. And they're taking all the data to use for AI. And now there's starting to be some privacy concerns now. Anyway, totally different conversation for another day. How's everybody doing tonight? August 22nd, episode 83, zeroing in on number 100, which is crazy to me. It really is. But I've been doing this for 83 days consistently. I don't do anything consistently, really. I mean, if you know me, consistently is not in my vocabulary. It just isn't. I don't know what's happening to me. Where is this coming from? How's everyone doing this evening? Nice to see you all. Happy Friday. Beautiful day. So that's me, the guy in the van. So if you have not checked out the Hines episodes from Day Tripping, starring Stephen He and me as the co-star / cameo guy driving a van, please do and make comment about me. That's all I'll say about that tonight, because that's it. So there was an article today in the Business First in Columbus, Ohio. Now, I thought there was going to be an article, a front cover page article, in regards to the music industry. I got interviewed for it last week, and they were going to feature the music industry on the front cover of this to talk about the economy of music, and I talked about all these things. And lo and behold, to my surprise, for whatever reason, the front cover was about development, and it showed a picture of the old radio station with the developer standing in front of it, talking about how the zoning commissions, the area historic commissions, screw up development. And there's this long article about that, and I'm quoted in it a lot, unfortunately, or fortunately. But yesterday, the vote for the property was passed 5-2. I've only been waiting for, 18 months for this to happen. So there's been a vote finally, and the building can be sold. So that kind of happened yesterday, which was the 35th anniversary of the radio station, WWCD CD 101. Talked about that last night. I have some things that connect to that tonight, just from historical sake of things that happened on this day historically, and then that reminds me of stories. So there you go. I will lean into those a little bit. We'll get into it a little bit because there's a lot. A good amount of things happened, but there was a ton of birthdays. A lot of birthdays, not a lot of deaths. So that's good, right? Birth, death, all that. I had an interesting day. Very interesting day. Just interesting, to say the least. That's all I can comment on. It was a nice day. It was a nice day. I had a happy, it was a good day. I treated myself to Starbucks. I actually went to Starbucks on campus and got myself a mocha instead of gas station coffee. That's how good I was feeling. I spent the $5 on a coffee instead of like the $1.69 at Sheetz or one of the gas stations to get the liquid bean juice. Anyway, 565. That is like the year 565. Saint Columba claims to have seen a beastie in Scotland at the River of Ness. So apparently he then banished, his quote was, he banished a ferocious water beastie. So he saw the Loch Ness Monster and banished it. He then used that to become famous and political. So I banish you, beastie beast. So maybe that's where it started. I didn't look and see who was the first one to see Loch Ness, but maybe that was it, because he was a saint, so he could get away with it saying, I saw a monster. I could see that, and then he used it to his own political means. There was a fly flying by. If it goes past me, I'm just going to try and grab it in midair. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to my reaction time. 1775. Nope, didn't grab it. 1775. King George III said the American colonies are an open rebellion, and we must do something about it. So I can see him with his wig. He said, suppress them. Suppress them. Those American colonies are giving me problems. Suppress them. I love that quote, suppress them. All right, we're suppressed. Took a few hundred years, but here we are. Now, this I found to be not interesting. I found this to be what it is, okay? Now, two different incidents of this. In 1848 and then in 1910. Now, in 1884, the U.S. annexes New Mexico. And in 1910, Japan annexes Korea. So by definition, though, annex means this: to add a territory to one's own property by appropriation. Okay, doesn't sound horrible. But then if you look up the definition of appropriation, appropriation is taking one's own use for one's own use, typically without permission. So I basically think that that's a nice definition of saying, like, hey, so in 1848, we stole New Mexico. And in 1910, Japan stole Korea. Is that about what it says, right? So if you annex someone, you're pretty much stealing it. So keep that in mind next time we talk about annexing something. I don't know. Some other country or plot of land. We annexed it. Let's dig into the definitions of how words are used. Annexed. 1865, the first patent for liquid soap by William Shepard. He didn't do anything else famous. So I was looking for like William Ivory. No. William Palmolive. No. I'm like, seriously? I was hoping for something, just William Shepard, and I didn't find it. He isn't like, there's no, the Shepard soap company. No, nothing. So, bro, really? You gave up that whole thing? You didn't like invent something? You got a patent for it, but you didn't make famous. You don't have a company still lurking around 100 years later? What the crap? Not impressed. 1901, Cadillac Motor Company is founded. See? Cadillac's still around. 1901. We're in 2025. That was, 124 years ago? There it is. See? Cadillac. William Shepard. You missed that one. Oh, man, that fly. I'm going to grab it. This one I didn't research enough, but it said in 1902, Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, bully, went for a ride in an electric car. So I'm wondering if it was like an electric car. I can't imagine it was with batteries. I'm wondering if it was an electric car, like a street car, or like, bumper car, electricity on the top and the bottom. That's not an electric car. I didn't look enough into it, but I didn't realize that we had battery technology enough in 1902. So I don't think that was it. But supposedly Teddy Bully Roosevelt went in an electric car in 1902. In 1906, Victor Victrola manufactured the first Victrola, the Victor Victrola Company in Camden, New Jersey. So that's sort of the precursor to the modern record player, the Victrola, in Camden, of all places. And then, like I said, 1910, Japan annexes Korea. Annexes. We're going to use that word, annexes. I'm going to annex something soon. I don't know what. 1950, Ralph Teeter gets the patent for the first speed regulating option on a motor. Cruise control. So cruise control started in 1950, and we still don't know how to use it properly. You mean this doesn't drive the car by itself? No, that's self-driving cars, and they still crash. 1952, now I did read a lot about this. Devil's Island closes permanently. So Devil's Island is in the French Guiana, and it was a penal colony that was actually started in 1852, and it lasted for 100 years. So this is a penal colony for 100 years. 80,000 prisoners were imprisoned on that. It had a 75% mortality rate at one point. So the likelihood of you going to Devil's Island and making it back for whatever crime you were put on there didn't really look very promising. And who did they prison there? Well, hardened criminals and a lot of political prisoners. Shocking, right? They put political prisoners on Devil's Island. They made it difficult to get off because it was hard to get off. A few people did escape. The movie Papillon was based on the story of someone escaping. Apparently, he made it all up, though. He never was on Devil's Island. Supposedly, the whole thing was fake. The account was fake by him. It wasn't not true about how harsh the conditions were and how brutal they were and everything else. But the guy that wrote Papillon basically made up the story himself about him being on the island because he wasn't. It seems that it was not a great place, and the prison guards were extremely brutal. And if you had money, you could in fact buy favors to the guards, and they would steal about half your money, 25 to 50% of the money, and then keep it for themselves and give you the rest to buy things like, I don't know, food, which otherwise you didn't normally get. Hence why the 75% mortality rate. So yeah, wow, an island made for prisoners. I don't know, in the middle of water. Who knew how that works? 1984, the last VW Rabbit is manufactured off the line. No more VW Rabbits. Did we miss those? I don't know. I knew people that had them. I didn't think they were great. VW Bug, sure, the original one I missed, but I don't know, really? The Rabbit? Give or take, right? Is that give or take one of those, the Rabbit? I just, the Cabriolet. They had the Rabbit Cabriolet. Just saying. 2004, the painting The Scream is stolen in Oslo, Norway, at gunpoint from the Munich Museum. And it was returned, but apparently there's two versions of it, two painting versions and a chalk version, and both were stolen. This is also the Madonna was stolen as well. Now, contrary to what most people believe, Van Gogh did not make The Scream. Okay, this was not him. It was actually made by someone completely different, Edward Munch. He's the one who wrote or drew The Scream, painted it. So it was not a Van Gogh. Just most people think it is, but it is not. Edward Munch made it. He was inspired, they think, there was a Peruvian mummy that you can see where it's like holding its head and it looks kind of like The Scream. And he said it was because he was outside and the sky was red and that had to do with like a volcano and blah, 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 some other things. But yes, stolen at gunpoint. Basically, these guys, the first time the one was stolen, it was right before the Olympics. They moved it downstairs for easier display. And basically these guys walked in, stole it, and left a note saying, "Thanks for making your security so lax." That's just like, stole your stuff. But then the second time when they stole it again, these guys stole this at gunpoint. Basically, armed men broke into the museum and robbed them of it. Said, "We're taking it." The one picture sold for $119 million. The other one is in the museum, but they got it back. But still, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. 1986, Stand By Me by Stephen King. The novella by Stephen King is released, starring Rivers Phoenix and produced and directed by Rob Reiner. Good old Rivers Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix's younger brother or older brother, who is no more. Died in the Viper Room, I believe, was the place of his demise some years ago. Joaquin, of course, went on to star in his own Fame and The Joker and some other movies. 2018, George Clooney becomes the richest actor, making $239 million in 1 year. Now, it wasn't just due to acting, though, because he sold his alcohol company. So if you've seen, he was a tequila guy, but he sold that for $239 million. But as we said, the second richest was, in fact, The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, with $124 million. And he got that just from acting. So, but Clooney's got some bucks. So no wonder he's got his house in wherever it is, like Como or something. Damn it. 1956, Elvis starts filming the movie Love Me Tender. I think I've probably seen that one. Don't remember. Probably. I've seen a few of the Elvis movies. Some of them are fun. You know, they're kind of kitschy. But yes, Elvis. Elvis is everywhere. Elvis is still the king. 1956 or 1966, the Beatles are in New York City, and they hold two press releases, one for the press and one for fans. So they actually broke it down and kicked all the press out and just let fans do a press release and a presser and talk to them and hung out with fans. Very cool. The Beatles in that respect. Also, in 1969, on this day, same thing. They always have stuff on the same day. Today was the last official photo shoot of the Beatles as a band. This happened in, I think it was Ascot, England, at the home of John and Yoko Ono, who many believe that was part of the reason for the demise of the band, Miss Yoko Ono. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. I can only read what it says in the papers. Who knew? Such is life. In 1987, Madonna, #1 with Who's That Girl? Who knew, right? Madonna. I was just never a giant fan of Madonna in any respect. But that's just Madonna. It's okay. I got no hate. Just, don't have to be a fan of everyone and everything musical. I just don't. Okay, birthdays. So 1917 on this day is John Lee Hooker. Boom, 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 boom. Listen to John Lee Hooker a little earlier. Great blues. Man, you gotta dig that. Some of that blues is that's good stuff. So it's John Lee Hooker, born on this day, 1917. Also on this day, 1920, Ray Bradbury, who did Fahrenheit 451. I told you I just recently watched the movie Fahrenheit 451. It's damn. Are we there? I'm just wondering, really, are we there? It feels like we're almost there, and I'm just like wondering, okay. Now this one I found to be, sorry, this is as non-PC as it's going to get. Okay, 1925, Honor Blackman. That is her name, Honor Blackman, and she was Pussy Galore in James Bond. And if you've ever seen that, the exchange between the two, when James Bond says, "Well, what's your name?" and she says, "I'm Pussy Galore," and he goes, "I must be dreaming." But the original, and this is why I laughed tonight, because I knew the name Hunter Blackman. The original lineup, again, this is 1960s, okay? When the James Bond movie came out, Goldfinger, I think that came out like 64. The original line in 64, which is as edgy as you're going to get, when James Bond in the movie asks, "What's your name, dear?" she says, "Pussy Galore." And he goes, "I know you are, but what's your name?" 1964. Talk about pushing the envelope. Jesus. I find that to be hilarious that, you can't even get away with saying that on TV sometimes now. But yes, James Bond got away with that, Ian Fleming's James Bond in 1964 in Goldfinger. Honor Blackman's birthday today. Oh, man. Sorry. Speaking of Germans, because Goldfinger was German and looked just like this guy, today is the birthday of General Norman Schwarzkopf, who actually is my relationship. My mother is a Schwarzkopf, and I am related by blood to General Norman Schwarzkopf. I am like his fourth cousin. So that is one of those weird, quirky little things that you're just like, really? It's like, yes, he's your cousin. I'm like, what? Yes, he's your cousin on your mother's uncle's grandfather's father's side. I'm like, okay, who knew? Yes, one of those things. You don't know these things till you talk to your parents and they tell you stuff like, wait, what? I was what? Who was what? Yeah. If you haven't had those conversations with your parents before they die, do that. Because they'll tell you some stuff that you just will not believe. Like, wait a second, you never told me this. Oh, I told you that years ago. No, you didn't. I had a couple of those in my life with my mother and father. Like, okay, I was not aware of said. Right. Maybe I'll share one of those. One of those dropped bombs on my lap when I was at an age where I was like, wait, what? I was like, I don't remember being told that ever. 1929, Valerie Harper from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and then her own show, Valerie. She was all right. Nothing super duper. 1941, Carl from Aqua Teen, Hunger Force's favorite person, the Big Tuna himself, winner of the NFL Super Bowl 2 times, coach of the Giants, the team that I grew up being a fan of, 1993 to 2006, Mr. Bill Parcells, the Big Tuna. I don't know why it's called the Big Tuna, but I just know that because, that's what it is. Just one of those stupid facts that you're aware of. How did I got that fact? I don't know. I'm not really aware. 1945, David Chase. He's the creator of The Sopranos. As I said, I was rewatching The Sopranos recently to catch up on it. It's just one of those things where there's things that I get to see and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been in that exact same place in New Jersey. Wow, I have been to that place. Oh my God, I've grown up, and yes, that was, so there's a lot of that. The movie or the series was filmed in places that I got to go see growing up. I did not really know any gentlemen growing up, but I definitely knew some people that had family that was sort of on the leeward side of law. Let's put it that way. They weren't like friends and relatives, but we did know some people in parts of New Jersey that we had neighbors, family where, oh yeah, they own the bar that's this. We're like, oh, isn't that we don't talk about that. Okay, got it. Those things, Ron Dante, 1945. No idea who he was until I was like, oh, right? Sang Sugar Sugar. He was the singer in the band The Archies, which I also listened to. Sugar, honey, honey. Yeah, I was like, the Archies, they were actually a band. They were made up like the Monkees, but they were a band and they did have popular music. So, and a cartoon. But yes, he was actually a person, Ron Dante. Who knew? So Cindy Williams in 1947 from Laverne and Shirley. She was Shirley. Lenny and Squiggy. Hello! If you never saw that, it's worth watching at least a little bit. Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated. I know. You remember that stupid stuff. Peter Lagnan of Perubu from Bay Village, Ohio. I didn't know he's from Bay Village. Ian Mitchell, Bay City Rollers. Satuyday, night. Now that was one of the songs that you would get to listen to when you were roller skating in the elementary school when you were a kid. When they would move all the chairs out and move all the tables away, and you'd go roller skating in the gymnasium or the cafeteria as a Saturday night adventure for when you were a kid. That's what you did. And that was not like in the 50s, all right? I'm not that old. Vernon Reid, 1958, from In Living Color, Cult of Personality. Seen them before. Great, love seeing In Living Color. Cult of Personality, great song, and a bunch of other ones. Debbie Peterson from the Bangles, also birthday today, and that was in 1961, and that is Manic Monday and Walk Like an Egyptian, which, were great songs as well. The Bangles were a good band. A lot of fun, little stuff from them. Roland Orzabal from Tears for Fears. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Shout. I have a really good story about meeting them. I got to meet them in Los Angeles at the Forum. We flew out to go see them, and it was like the K-Rock Christmas or something. I forget the exact year, but we went out, and it was one of those just sort of get it to go see. It's like, oh yeah, we want to go. Like, fly us out there, record companies. Okay, sure, come on out. So they flew us out to LA to go see this. Now, the first thing that was cool about the Forum was that they had multiple bands, but they had a rotating stage. So they'd have the first band on, And then the set turnover was instantaneous because they basically just spun the stage. And, it was like a giant, you know, turntable, and boom, the next band was on. And you were just like, oh man, so there's no turnover because they were already breaking down everything on the backside that you couldn't see. I was like, every venue in the world should have that. It was amazing. It was so great because it kept the show moving, because there was no, okay, we got to break down sets between the opening act. No, it just rolled, and you were like, yes, it was amazing. But that was one of those things because it was LA and it was Tears for Fears and it was star-studded galore. That's when I got to meet like all sorts of fun people. Jimmy Kimmel, got to meet Jimmy Kimmel, he was nice, Jimmy Kimmel. Stood there, had a beer. I was like, oh, there's a beer. So I've got a picture with him somewhere. I did not drag all the pictures out. I thought about doing it. Met Tears for Fears. Met the guy who does Batman. Forgot his name, the comedian. What's his name? Not Will Ferrell, but Will Arcade. Anyway, but Batman did it for the Lego movie. Obviously, the Batman Lego movie. Who else? From Breaking Bad. Jesse, he was so nice. But yeah, and it was just a really, really super duper one of those really great junket adventures that I got to do for radio station stuff. So it was definitely one that was just fun, really good. And it was Tears for Fears, which were amazing because we got to see them. I think that I missed them here or something. Maybe it was I missed them here. They were playing in Columbus or somewhere nearby, and I missed the show for some reason. And then that's why I wanted to go see them so desperately, because I knew that this would be the only opportunity to see them. Maybe that's it, that I missed the show here. Anyway, it was an amazing show. So if they ever come back, you definitely want to see Tears for Fears because they sounded good too. James DeBarge, his birthday is today, from DeBarge. And this is a funny story. 1963. Myra Tori Amos, Cornflake Girl and such. So early on, and this I think I told the story that I went from the assistant promotions director when there was no promotions director. So I was the assistant to no one. Okay, I was the assistant to none. It was just the title. I didn't get promotions director first. My first job was the assistant promotions director. And my boss was Wendy Steele, and she was the marketing director. And we did a show at the Newport Music Hall with Tori Amos. Now, we got permission to broadcast the show live. So we had to have, now this was back early 90s, I believe. So we had to have a lot of equipment because to do a live broadcast required that we had to have a sound engineer, a sound truck, and a full 32-channel console mixing board to mix it down for the radio station. And then we had to broadcast this thing over dual ISDN lines. So we had to have things installed, and it was just, a huge rigmarole and a bunch of work, and the sound truck was outside, and this and this and this and this. And so I remember we're at the show, and, we're broadcasting live. This is live on the air. Tori Amos, blah, 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 blah. And she's playing the piano, and it's kind of quiet. And I think it's somewhat she didn't want people to get drinks, nobody should get drinks while I'm performing or something. And somebody kicked a bottle over or something. You hear a clink, 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 something. She stops. And she just stops the show. And she's like, you are the rudest. And I was just I was this scream holy crap, I'm like, what's going on? I was like, so... when he's like, what are we doing? I literally ran out. I was like, cut the feed. And they're like, I'm like, cut the effing feed. I was like, I don't want her to be sitting there talking crap about stuff, blah, 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 blah. So we basically, I sort of usurped the authority of my boss and just told him to cut the feed, until she went back to playing, because there was a delay on it so that we could, sort of remove this sort of tirade she went on for a minute or so about this audience being so rude and this and this and this. And I was like, wow, Jesus. I was like, Tori Amos, what are you going to do? It's the way that works, right? Speaking of this, don't forget, like and subscribe, that right there. because that's, the other thing that I swear at some point I will start making content for it. I've thought about stuff that I'm going to do. I just have to have the time to do it. Promise I'll do it. I'll make some fun stuff. Anyway, 1966 GCA. Gary Griss of Wu-Tang. Birthday today. And then this is what I was listening to right before I started, so you might have even heard it if you were here early. 1967, Alice in Chains, Mr. Lane Stanley. No more with us, but yes, Alice in Chains, Lane Stanley. So I was listening to a little bit of the Alice in Chains world just a few minutes ago before I started this illustrious cast. And this isn't really a podcast. Just, someone said, well, you do a podcast. I don't do a podcast. This is just a live stream, a stream of consciousness. So we're going to call it a live stream of consciousness because it's more of that. I try and give you historical dates of music and events and things like the Loch Ness Monster was discovered. You may not care, but why not? It's something to wrinkle your brain, give you a little bit of information. And then try and put some sort of connection to me, music, whatever, and those things. And if I do so, great. If I don't, well, you know what? Then I suck. All right? Because there are occasions that I just do. We all have those days of sucky. 1967, also Ty Burrell, his birthday. Ty was Phil Dunphy in Modern Family. He also was in Evolution, the movie. And a couple other things. I always like how he sort of is just clueless. He's just sort of that clueless actor when you're at things. I feel that way sometimes in reality, where I'm just like, oh, did that just happen? Oh, okay. I wasn't paying enough attention. I wasn't aware. That went over my head. Slow that down. I didn't hold up my mitt. All this stuff. Land the plane. Every one of those things. And I don't think that it's that I'm not paying attention, that I'm not smart. It's just like, yeah, sometimes I'm just clueless and unaware. I just don't see things because I'm just, completely lost in thought or doing whatever. I'm just like, oh, did that just happen? Really? Oh, okay. 1973, Kristen Wiig, born this day. I liked her in, oh, crap. What was it? Oh, the MacGyver movie. I thought it was hilarious. MacGruber! What are you going to do, MacGruber? I thought that I just love that role that she plays. She's just, again, quirky, kind of just offbeat a little bit. But yes, I thought the MacGruber stuff she did is just funny. I love that whole concept of MacGruber. I've got this hairpin and this piece of string and a bolt. And then, of course, it's going to explode because you didn't get it done in time, MacGruber. 1978, James Corden, his birthday. I miss James Corden. That was just when he was on. I guess I just was. You miss segments of time because of life. I missed that segment of time that James Corden was on, so I don't really know much about him. I've caught some things, but I never watched his show as late night or whatever, so I don't really know him to know the show, to miss it. And then 1995, Dua Lipa, birthday today. Dua Lipa. Who knew? The only people that I had for passing today was in 2006, which again, I'm going to have to decipher some numbers, some names here, and just numbers and play the lottery for this. Bruce Gary from The Knack, My Sharona. Now that's like 3 times I've mentioned My Sharona in as many days. So, I hadn't talked about My Sharona for, 80 days prior. And suddenly the last 3 days, I'm like, okay, My Sharona's number 1. One of the guys was born the other day. And now this is the death of one of the other persons in the band. So I'm just wondering if there's like a weird algorithm so it gets, into a loop and a zone and finds certain bands. I don't know how this thing operates, that it finds these facts. But yes, again, My Sharona by The Knack mentioned. Don't know. So dun, 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 dun. There it is. And then last was in 2011, Nick Ashford of Ashford and Simpson. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ow. I think I'm debating. So that really hurt. So if you have not watched, I fell down the other day. I tripped. I fell like a 6-foot tree. Just right down. I tripped on my shoelaces. I have not worn those shoes since then because I'm kind of mad at them. I mean, I'm mad at my own self because my shoelaces were untied. I tripped over my shoelaces like a freaking 11-year-old or 6-year-old probably. And they're loop shoelaces because you just kind of pull them and you have like one of those little cinch things that you'll put like, on your coat that helps pull the thing tight. And they're nice. They're Gore-Tex. They're really great. They're great for working. They're comfortable. They keep my feet dry and everything else. But I tripped. And I've tripped before because they pop out. Anyway, I hit the ground hard. Shoulder has a nice big yellow bruise and it's all scabby and stuff now on my face. But the thing that I think I screwed up the most is my hand. My hand is still really swollen. It looks like I have a boxer's fracture. If you punch something, you break your bone right there. And it really hurts still a lot. I can't compress my hand, so I may go to urgent care tomorrow just to see if I broke my hand. Which if I did, that would be typical me. I tripped and fell and broke my hand. Which, my 93-year-old mother does that. She trips and falls. She's tripped and fallen. She broke her hand and, hit her face on a stair. And just like, I'm like, Jesus, Mom. So you need to be more careful. So maybe I need to take my own advice. Jesus, Randy, you need to be more careful. Tie your damn shoelaces, you old man. What the hell? So yes, I'm not looking forward to doing that, but I may in fact go to urgent care tomorrow and just be like, just x-ray it. I mean, what are they going to do? I don't want a cast on my hand. I'm not going to get a cast. I'm just not. Even if they tell me it's broken. I'm like, no, I'm not going to put a freaking cast on my hand. It's, one of the little tiny bones up here that's probably in my hand. And what's that going to do? It'll make it heal and it won't hurt. So what? It hurts a little bit. I can complain about it. It gives me something to bitch about. And something to talk about because I tripped over my friggin' shoelaces. I'm more actually concerned about putting my shoes back on. Not because of the shoelaces, but because I walked through so much poison ivy. That's the actual reason why I have not put them on yet. Because I did walk through so much poison ivy that I was wondering how I was going to get it on my legs. Because one of the things I had to do last Sunday, a person who's a landlord had students moving back in, and they were like, please, come help me. This woman's freaking out. And I was like, okay, her son, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever, man. Okay, I'm happy to do it. And he's like, will you call her? I was like, okay. I was like, I guess. So I called. It was a New Jersey area code. So I was like, oh, so she's New Jersey. So I just called her up. I'm like, hey. And I said, so New Jersey? She goes, yeah. And I said, oh, I'm from New Jersey. And we bonded immediately. So that kind of diffused the whole situation. But as I said, I got to this property and it's like, oh yeah, it was trimmed last year. No effing way. And I mean, maybe it was trimmed last year, a decade ago last year. Because seriously, I am not kidding you. They had wild grapevines that were, they were the size of my thigh. I had to use a chainsaw to cut them because I was like, the frick, man. And they were hanging down like in front of the door. Like, how do you walk in this? It was really bad. And like the Hieronymus that grows, it's really beautiful. But you couldn't even see out the back gate to get to where the garbage can was. Let's put it this way. There's so much stuff that when I had a 10-yard dumpster filled to the brim. That's how much material I moved. And if you don't know how big a 10-yard dumpster is, it's like 8 or 10 feet long, at least, and like 4 or 5 feet high. So, it's good size. It's, this tall and like 10 feet long, 6 feet wide or whatever. So it's a good size and good amount of volume of stuff. But yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we trimmed this up last year. I'm like, the hell you did? I was like, you trimmed this last year a decade ago. So I basically, what was going to take me a couple hours, took me 8 hours to do. And that's when I was tired, shoelace was untied, and I tripped. And of course it was on concrete in a gravel parking lot, no less. So I really got to enjoy that humiliation of landing on the ground, having to do like that, almost like a computer reboot. Okay, I definitely am hurt. Let's see. Shoulder, nope, not dislocated. Teeth all intact. Don't feel like I'm bleeding anywhere from the face because it's just, I don't know. The last time you've fallen like that, it's a shocker. It is just a shock to the system because you don't expect it, because you literally inches from the ground kind of put your hands down and, catch yourself as opposed to just completely that, getting unconscious fall down that you see if you ever watch, punched videos where people just get cold cocked and just collapse. It's pretty much that where I just had that. No fun. So tomorrow I'm hoping to meet with a meeting with a computer genius. I'm hoping that this person will assist me with my shop and I will finally get Randsanities up and running. So then I can hawk that as well as this and talk about this and say, hey, have you seen this? Because then I'll be like, hey, have you seen this? And I'll click on a thing of Randsanities and you can get this shirt. You can get an actual Randsanity shirt, or you can get some of the other shirts that I've made little phrases of over the years. Just, stupid stuff that I've joked about and things that I think are silly and funny and quirky and whatever else. And you can buy black t-shirts because they'll all be black, just so you know. I will allow them to be in other colors in some instances, but otherwise I'm like, no, you know why? Because it's not because I'm goth and it's not because I'm moody and dark. It's because I'm messy. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. I'm a slob. I spill stuff on me all the time. I think I even spilled the shirt's like an hour old and I already spilled stuff on it. I was drinking a glass of milk and of course having a cookie because why not? I can have a cookie, but I took a swig and it was like, and I'm like, crap. So that is why I wear black mostly, to be perfectly honest. It really is. I'm surprised last night I wore that polo because I went out to dinner to celebrate the fact that I could finally sell a building. But I'm surprised I did not make a mess of it. It is just that thing. I am no better than a 6-year-old when it comes to my eating habits. There's always crumbs wherever I sit. There's crumbs on the chair and crumbs on the floor and crumbs in the car. And, it's just, I don't know why. I just assume it's just part of my, my nature. I'm just messy. I always have been. I don't think it's something that's occurred recently. I just am more aware of it now because I'm not sure why, but I've always worn black for that main reason though, that I'm just messy. And if I don't, you see it because I had a couple of these Randsanities in white and every one of them has a stain on it. I mean, seriously, every single one. Coffee or some other dark liquid jelly because I eat peanut butter and jelly still, again, like a 6-year-old. And if you handed me a can of SpaghettiOs, I would totally eat the can of SpaghettiOs with a peanut butter and jelly. Just, that's how mature my palate is. Even though I enjoyed Veal Marsal last night, which was chef's kiss, I'm also good with a peanut butter and jelly and SpaghettiOs. So, speaking of SpaghettiOs, I'm just thinking chef kiss. So today is Surgical Oncologist Day. Okay, that's great. Surgical oncologist. So yes, hopefully I won't ever need to use your services to remove something from me that requires that. But good day to you, surgical oncologist. It's also Never Been Better Day. I did not see what that is. I didn't care because, right, we've never been better. You've never been better than where you are exactly at this moment. And that's something I've said for people all the time. Where's the best place to be? It's like where I am at this exact moment in time, no matter what is going on. You have to look at it that way. You cannot have FOMO. It just doesn't exist. Okay, that is definitely a psychological trick that somebody put in like a Hallmark card. Okay, there is no such thing as FOMO. Wherever you are is the best possible place to be at that given moment in time. Whatever the circumstance and situation is, that's the way you have to live it. Okay, you do. Because otherwise you are literally living in a world of regret. Would have, could have, should have. Those will never be words on my tombstone. For better or worse, I will never have those words, would have, could have, should have. Just won't do it. I will not. I will be falling off the edge of the going, I regret nothing. That's how that will go. But yes, so never been better day, perfect day to do it. Never been better. Enjoy that one. It's also pecan tort day. What's up with all these freaking pecans? Okay, it was like chocolate pecan pie the other day, and then it was pecan. Come on, man, get off this whole pecan thing. It was fine when it was raspberry, but yeah, I'm not doing it, man. Pecan's just not working for me. Pecan pie, pecan tort, no. I had tiramisu last night. Yeah, that's what you want. I had a Swiss roll tonight. Yeah, that's what you want. I'm going to probably have one of those glass Costco mousses that I told you about the other day. Holy crap, they're good. I need to find what that is so I can, push that and sell those for Costco because, Jesus, they're good. Again, if it comes in a glass jar, it's not like a Jell-O pudding cup with plastic. It's actual glass. No microplastics, so that's good. But, oh, man, good stuff. It's also Bao Day, B-A-O. And I was like, wait a second, what is that? And I saw the picture, I'm like, oh, it's those little things that they're like fluffy pork, like dumplings, like pork buns. I remember the first time I had those, I was in San Francisco. We went to Dim Sum. I was like 18 years old. And I went out and stayed with my cousin. And he took me to a dim sum in like Chinatown. And it was just crazy. I mean, nobody spoke English, and it was just this most chaotic thing ever. People were just like running around, and like they would just roll up to trays, and you just pointed. Everyone's screaming and yelling. You just point to things, and they just kind of throw it on the table, and then you get charged by the plate. But I remember having those things. They were like sweet pork in that little fluffy bun. Yes. So when I saw the picture, I'm like, oh my God, yes. I was like, I want to have one of those. So Bao Day. And I think it's pronounced Bao. If not, sorry, butchered it again. I'm going to butcher words all the time and make words up, just so you know. I'm good at that too. It's also National Tooth Fairy Day. Teeth are still here. I don't want $1 under my pillow, please. Thank you so much. That's creepy. Do you really, really think about that? Someone sneaking into your room and putting money under your pillow while you're asleep. Bro. I don't know if I want people sneaking into my house, putting money under my pillow, unless it's like, the winning lottery ticket. I still don't want people sneaking in my damn house. Just saying. Santa's bad enough, but now you got the tooth fairy? What's up with that? And that's creepy. What are you doing? Like saving teeth? You got like a tooth necklace? How's that work? All of it. Just saying. And then it's Be an Angel Day. I don't know what that is. I guess, being nice to somebody that needs that. Sweet. I try and do that all the time. And if not, well, sorry. Try my best. That's all we can do. Tomorrow is Cuban Sandwich Day. I don't know if I'll have a Cuban sandwich tomorrow. I am going to go to a breakfast tomorrow, but it's going to be afternoon. So I guess is that technically brunch? What is the official time that breakfast ends, though? That's what I want to know. Does it like start at like 5 a.m. and ends at 11:02? When does breakfast end and it become brunch? Because I'm still going to eat friggin' breakfast. I'm not going to change my habit. I'm going to have coffee and OJ and 3 eggs over easy with white toast, bacon, and hash browns. That's going to be my food. That's it. Because that's a breakfasty food. Because they don't have Taylor ham here. I'd get a Taylor ham. Nobody has Taylor ham on pork roll. You have to buy it at Weiland's and I have to make it myself at home, which is fine. I'm good with that. I can cook. I learned how to do that. Those are all those things I learned in home economics. Like I know how to sew, which came in handy when I drove an ambulance because when they, taught people how to suture, I was like, oh, this? I was like, I know how to do that. I've already given myself stitches. I know how to suture. I have a med kit that has sutures in it. And let's see, it's also Find Your Inner Nerd Day. I mean, that's every day for me. I am an inner nerd. I just hide it well. But it's Find Your Inner Nerd Day tomorrow. And then it's Sponge Cake Day. Not SpongeBob. That was last night. That was Hillerman's birthday was last night. And he's the guy who actually made SpongeBob. But it's Sponge Cake Day. Sponge Cake SquarePants. No, it doesn't have the same vibe. Just saying. So there you go. So that's what's happening. Don't forget this. Go watch the episodes. Go make comment on it. I promise this weekend I will go through every episode and I will mark every single comment that was made on it. If you're interested, there's a Business First article. I believe a guy who ran for mayor, Joe Motil, posted the whole article on Facebook. So you can go read that. he's anti-development, so I'm glad he wasn't in charge, because I'd probably be stuck another 6 months, 9 months, whatever, dealing with this city development issue. But that's, I think, behind me now. I have the building and zoning thing on Tuesday, which hopefully will be rubber stamped. And then once that's official, then I will start to announce dates that I'm going to start emptying the building, because now it's, if whatever gets stored, sold, given away, if it's none of those things happens, it's in the garbage. Because when they destroy the building, they will literally demo everything. So I will literally try and sell everything. The railings, the logo things that are CD 1025, anything that's 101, anything that's 92.9, whatever. So if there's stuff, I gave away a TV today. I gave away one of the big TVs because I was like, take it, just take it. I don't need it. Just there you go. And so if you break it, oh, I don't care. It's yours for free. Have it. Enjoy. So yeah, that was like, don't care. I can't have 6 freaking televisions. I literally had 6 of them. And like I said, I'm so tempted to bring them down here, and I could hang one like right there, so I could see all of this stuff that I'm looking at here constantly right there. That would be amazing. So I don't know, maybe I'll do it. I'm gonna have to just get wild and get a wild hair and just do all that and make this a real studio in that respect. Don't know. I didn't know how long I was gonna do this for. Now I think I'm just gonna do it forever, no matter what. You'll never stop me. Anyway, I think that's it. I think I have nothing more to endlessly drone on about at this moment. I've done that for 51 minutes tonight. Holy crap. But the average listen and view duration is 7 minutes. So I love that so much. When the average duration it shows me is 7 minutes and 15 seconds, and I was on for 51 minutes. So yeah, apparently you get bored with me very quickly. So I need to change my subject matter or something. I don't know what it is. That's how that works. That's how that works. But yes, so I will be announcing soon stuff to buy, to give away, to sell, all this stuff. And it is a litany of crap, everything. You know, I mean, it's like, hey, you need an office chair? Just take it. $5. There you go. Buy me a cup of coffee. Here you go. Take it. Give me a gift certificate. Take it. I have so many office chairs. I don't know what to do with them. Desks. I've got really nice desks, old, teachers' desks, and just stuff. So anyway, that's where we're at. That is all the news that's fit to print on this fine day. Episode 83 on August the 22nd. Oh, I did figure out what the one thing is when it says, is it tomorrow or is it today? I missed it. Be an angel, never been better. Should I go? No, I don't know what it was. I didn't write it down. But anyway, it was something about just the end of summer. I was like, holy crap, it is kind of coming to the end of summer, isn't it? Because Labor Day is around the corner. What the hell, man? Where did the summer go? I guess if you don't have any sense of time, the world just goes zipping by. That's the way that works. All right. You know the routine by now, right? We all do. So thank you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you letting me just espouse my madness. And hopefully I entertain you at least 7 minutes and 41 seconds worth. Someone brought the average up. Thank you for bringing the average up. You brought up a whole 30 seconds. 7 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm gaining. I'm winning. All right. We'll do this again tomorrow on Saturday night. I'm going to try and have something for tomorrow. Something different. I don't know what it will be, but we'll see what I can do. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you dearly. And do good things. Watch out for traffic. Students are back and they don't know how to drive. Or the parents don't. Or nobody does. It's Columbus. Fade to black. I think I'd faded black before I did that. Or said it. I don't know. One of those things. All right, back to Alice in Chains.